This is KGW News at 11.
Sound like a battlefield. Like literally just things going off, boom, 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 all over the place.
A state of emergency in the Portland metro. Falling trees causing death and destruction, knocking out power to tens of thousands of people who are now enduring another night of dangerous cold. Thanks for joining us tonight at 11. I'm John Adams. It's 22 degrees in Portland, still well below freezing. So far, 4 deaths have been blamed on this winter storm, 2 as a result of fallen trees, 2 from suspected hypothermia after exposure to the cold. Well, it could be days before power is restored to thousands in the metro area. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joins us now. And Joe, for the people that remain in the cold tonight, how long until we see some relief from these bone-chilling temperatures?
Well, good evening to you, John. You're going to have to wait until Wednesday afternoon before we see temperatures warm above freezing for our daytime highs. Now, it's not uncommon to see temperatures in the mid to the upper teens for your overnight lows, but daytime highs for the second day in a row were right around the low 20s. And here's a look what we woke up to earlier this morning. 17 degrees throughout much of the metro area. You throw in that east wind, yeah, it felt much colder than 17 overnight. And we're still going to be seeing temperatures in the mid to the upper teens heading into your overnight hours. -2 in Bend, -2 in Prineville earlier this morning, and along the Oregon coast, temperatures were well above freezing, a little bit warmer, if you will. But heading into the afternoon, we saw daytime highs in the low 20s. This is about 24 degrees below average for this time of year. You can kind of get an idea of just how cold the air is out there and how cold it's going to remain heading into the next couple of days. Here's a live look in downtown Portland, Pioneer Courthouse Square camera. You can kind of see the winds blowing a little bit coming in from the southeast, about 9 miles per hour, relatively light. Temperature of 22 right now. But I want to talk about that snow is because that snow is going to be remaining on the ground over the next couple of days. And there is another round of ice. Yes, there's going to be an ice storm heading into Tuesday afternoon into early Wednesday morning. I'll talk more about that in detail in just a few minutes. But we have that ridge of high pressure in place for tomorrow. But it's going to keep us dry all day Monday, a good part of Tuesday morning before things get bitterly cold. And we also are going to be under a wind advisory as well as a winter storm warning over the next couple of days because of that freezing rain. I'll let you know how much ice we could be seeing in the next couple of days coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. Well, a family in southeast Portland was taken to the hospital this afternoon for carbon monoxide poisoning. Ashley Grams joins us in the newsroom. And Ashley, it was actually a neighbor that called 911, right?
Right, it was, John. We talked to the woman that saw this family asking for help, Portlanders who were just trying to stay warm in this bitterly cold weather.
A fire truck, the only signal that something went wrong on Sunday afternoon at this apartment complex in the Centennial neighborhood. And it wasn't a fire. Crews pulled 5 people sick with carbon monoxide poisoning out of this unit.
A knock on my door again, and he's right there, and he says, "Help me, please."
This is the woman who found the family. She lives across the hall.
And I walk out into the hallway, and I look down the stairs at the bay window seating area, and his child is like throwing up, heaving.
Headache, confusion, and vomiting are all symptoms that someone has breathed in too much of the colorless, odorless gas.
I dragged the kid outside to get some fresh air, and some other guy from their family pulled up and started pulling the rest of the people out of the house.
Royer says she called 911 and firefighters evacuated other apartments in the complex. Portland Fire and Rescue says all 5 of the patients were conscious and taken to a hospital.
It was terrifying.
Royer says she thinks the family was just trying to stay warm when they got sick. Across the street, power lines are down, a tree cutting off their ability to turn on the heat for the past 24 hours.
The door to their apartment was open, and I saw the generator, and I knew right away.
Firefighters say it was both using that generator and cooking with propane indoors that poisoned the family.
Be aware of the hazards, especially when the weather's like this. You know, you want to be holed up, you don't want to open the windows, but gas generators are not meant to be used inside, especially with no ventilation at all.
Well, Portland firefighters said they were dispatched to 17 carbon monoxide calls Saturday after the storm started. They're warning people not to use generators inside, even when it's cold, because it can be deadly.
All right, Ashley, thank you. Well, one of the most dangerous aspects of this winter storm, the strong winds that toppled trees onto power lines, cars, homes and businesses. And so far, we know of 2 people who died as a result of fallen trees, one in Lake Oswego and another in southeast Portland when a tree fell on an RV. Many others are assessing the damage to property and picking up the pieces today. Our Sydney Dorner has more.
High winds across the Portland area knocked over trees and even killed 2 people. One of them was a man in Lake Oswego who died after a tree fell into his home on Sunbrook Drive. Other families who survived similar incidents say they know how lucky they are.
But I think it's 2 trees crisscrossing that just absolutely obliterated the bathroom and closet. And had we been in either of those rooms, we'd be dead.
Severe wind knocking down trees across the Portland area, leaving families just like this one without a home. Mason and Jacqueline DePassy were having a movie night with their 2 kids when the high winds caused trees to crush into their home.
3 trees total hit our house. We were very fortunate. Our neighbors were amazing. They came right over. They said, come over to our house. They had a generator, and so we stayed with them last night.
Not everyone was left unscathed. Up in Bethany, Steve Mishler says he was hit by a tree just steps away from his home.
I got a big black and blue spot on my back because it actually hit me. I was right at the corner of my house when it came down. I was just going in to tell her that tree's coming down, and I was over at the corner. I had pushed a branch over to the side, and I took about 2 steps that way, and all of a sudden just bang. And I'm on the ground.
Dogwood Park, a tight-knit neighborhood in Bethany surrounded by trees, was completely ruined by the storm. Bob Stinslin says he's lived here for over 40 years and has yet to see damage this bad.
Well, it was over a period of 2 hours, one tree after another just coming down. And every time we thought this would be the last one, here comes another one.
Overall, people affected are leaning on friends and family for a place to stay. People we talk with say they know it will be at least a year until things begin to resemble what they once were.
The neighbors are going to have to rent someplace, obviously, if they're stay with us for another several months till we get building contractors in to start the renovations. But I think it's going to be a week before we even see power because no one showed up yet.
Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
Well, as we've seen, the cold has been deadly, and tonight Multnomah County has opened 3 additional warming shelters. There are now a dozen sites open across the county that will be open through 8 tomorrow night. County officials say the shelters served more than 800 people last night. Street outreach teams are also sharing warming supplies and spreading the word to the unhoused about where they can go to get warm. The county is seeking volunteers to help meet demand in the shelters.
I am urging community volunteers to staff shelters as we continue expanding our response to this weekend's deadly winter storm. Anyone is encouraged to join us, especially people who have volunteered before and those with experience in human services and health-related settings.
You can call 211 to find the shelter nearest to you. There is also shelters open in other counties across the area. Head to our warming shelters article on KGW.com for a full list. Well, getting around continues to be a challenge for those without cars as MAX service remains suspended due to fallen trees and ice. Now, these are some photos from TriMet showing some of what they're dealing with in Beaverton with those trees laying across the tracks and on the wires. And in Portland, trains can't run due to packed ice and snow covering the tracks at street level. Crews will have to break up or melt the ice before trains and streetcars can run again. TriMet is providing shuttle buses in some spots, but says riders should look into regular bus lines instead or find other transportation options. Check trimet.org/alerts for the latest information. Well, tens of thousands of people across the area are facing a second frigid night in a row without power. And taking a look now at the PGE outage map, there are just under 80,000 customers still affected, 4,200 total outages overall right now. And that number has come down some today. We saw over 130,000 customers affected earlier this morning. And in Southwest Washington, the outages thankfully are not quite as widespread for Clark Public Utility customers. Right now, fewer than 250, you can see the number right there, are currently affected. That number has also come down throughout the day today. Well, the utilities say crews have been working nonstop to get the power back on, but as our Blair Best found out, it's been a long and agonizing wait for families who are struggling to stay warm.
Destruction from Saturday's storm can be seen across all corners of Portland.
I was sitting there and I was like, the power went out. And so it was really cold.
From snow-covered roads to downed trees.
And everything was just falling and smacking and cracking.
Crews work around the clock as thousands are left in the dark.
Overnight it was freezing. It got down to 45 degrees in the house, and I basically slept in my snow gear.
We actually don't even have cell service. It just says SOS.
The storm's impact reaching beyond the Pacific Northwest.
My mom is 95 years old. She's on hospice.
Lorraine Rose lives in California. Her mother is at this rehabilitation facility in Southwest Portland. She's been without power all weekend.
She called me then and she said, I'm really cold and I'm scared. She said, I know I'm, going to die in not that long. We don't know how long, months or whatever. She said, but this is not how I wanted to die.
I do worry about people who are aging and don't have support.
A few streets away, Aria and her family collect fallen branches for firewood.
So we could all huddle up in the living room.
It's horrible. I'm used to some cooked food and some TV.
We understand the hardships that come with power outages. We work year-round to prepare for these situations and make sure the impacts of these storms are as mitigated as possible.
More than 1,000 people with Portland General Electric are working to turn the lights back on, and more linemen are on the way. As of Sunday, more than 800 power lines were brought down by debris or tree limbs.
So our crews, they have a really big job ahead of them, and they're out there working 24/7 to get power restored.
And then there are neighborhoods like here off Southwest Alden Street where large trees have fallen in nearly every yard, like this large Douglas fir that even ripped up the water line as it came down.
I was looking out the window and I heard a big crash.
Larry tries to pick up the pieces.
I won't get very far. I mean, it's a big tree.
It sounded like a battlefield. Like literally just things going off, boom, 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 all over the place.
Derek's yard bared the brunt of the damage. 6 trees barely missed his home.
You can see everything just destroyed, the whole entire block.
Meaning it will only take longer for things to get back to normal. PGE says their restoration efforts will continue into this week.
We are working as quickly and safely as possible.
That's a lot of people to get back online. So, I think we have to be patient.
Blair Best, KGW News.
Well, by the way, we've received some viewer messages about this message. It's going around on Ring communities and social media, claiming to be from PGE. It says anyone who didn't have power restored by 8 p.m. tonight will have to wait until next Monday because they're having to ship emergency transformers from Texas. Now, we asked PGE and they said they're aware of this and other rumors and said it's not true. In a statement, a spokesperson said they have over 1,100 personnel working through the night and will share additional updates on its page and official social media accounts.